Dear learners, I once again welcome you all to the second module of Research Methodology for Tourism and Hospitality Management. In the first module, you have got an idea about what kind of researches are happening in tourism and hospitality management area. In this module, we will be slowly entering into the fundamentals of tourism and hospitality management research. Before that, let me introduce you the topics that we will be discussing. In this module, we will study about the nature of research, benefits of a good research, generating research ideas, formulating research topics, and in the future, how you will be working on with different topics. Nature of research means all the areas which are aligned with tourism and hospitality management in this context. Let us start with nature of research. Research is a widely used term and widely applicable in our everyday life. Consciously or unconsciously, we undergo research process. We all have certain questions unanswered. We have inquisitive mind and we search for solutions through our friends, through internet or through books, so and so. So while inquiring about a particular issue, we get a mix of opinion. Some may be useful, some you may find irrelevant, and at the end you may come to a certain conclusion. So in research also similar process is happening. Here the difference is it is not just search for information. It is not just compilation of some data. More than that, here we have specific goals and we have specific methods, data collection process, and the interpretation becoming more meaningful and realistic or generalizable, so that it can be used in academic or it can be used in industry or in real life situations. You might have heard that research is an art and science. Why we use this term art and science? Because conducting a research is not easy. You should have an idea how to proceed with a certain topic and design a flow of the process, and in this process you may also encounter some issues, and at the end you will come to the results. So the designing of your work and the way you address the research process, that we can count here as the art part of research. The technical part of the research, where the systematic design or the way you collect the data and the mechanism you adopt for analyzing the data and the way you interpret, whether it is qualitative output or quantitative output. Here you have to adopt certain principles which are widely followed in the world. So this involves scientific process. So research is both an art and science. So here the process involved creating idea, that we can call idea generation, and describing the flow of the program, describing the flow of the process, and creating certain timeline for completing your work, understanding of similar research areas, doing the analysis, and which also involve getting the results, that results are acceptable or sometimes the results may be like critical in nature. So now let us see the benefits of good research. A researcher's dream is to get recognition. So here the process involves so much of pains or stress, and at the end you complete your dissertation. All PhD scholars might be realizing what I am telling here. So the process is not easy. And in terms of academics, good researchers bring out good knowledge, and this knowledge is essential and it is required for future generations. And for management or organizations, outcome of research is used at different levels. I already said you in the previous module that managers draw conclusions. They design or redesign the strategies, and the outcome of such researches greatly benefit tourism and hospitality industry in general. Government and policy makers depend upon the outcome of good researches. Say for example, National Tourism Policy. When you go through the policy statement, you might be remembering that the revenue generation from tourism, or the states which attract more number of tourists, or the diversity of tourism products and its demand factor. So when we take up good researches, our outcomes would be used in different levels. You may not be even aware of where it is being used. When you get citations, when your results are cited by someone, you come to know that your research is worth or valuable. Research can lead to innovation, and you might be aware that innovation is a very important part of tourism and hospitality business. It is not only happening in any other industry like IT or production. Here it means designing the product or crafting new designs for service offering. We have to do extensive research. The outcome of research benefit the society at large. The community is the main beneficiary in such cases. One of the key areas developed recently is community-based tourism. In India, you might be knowing that the states in northern part of India, Uttarakhand, Himalaya, Ladakh region, or northeastern India, Sikkim, Meghalaya, or southern part, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, so many community tourism projects are implemented. So we need to ascertain whether such projects are working. We would also want to know what benefit these projects yield to the community members. So researchers normally investigate or conduct inquiries in detail so that the outcomes reflect the economic or social benefits or how it impact the community in general. So in a nutshell, if we summarize the benefits of good research, it adds value to the existing body of knowledge, or you can say enrich the knowledge base. The next generation would be highly benefited from these outcomes, and for the tourism industry, it can benefit in product design or innovation or strategizing their services offering. And for communities concerned, the outcomes will greatly benefit the community to find out the best way or the best practices they can adopt to attract tourists as well as maintain the sustainability practices. We can divide research in broadly two areas. One is basic research and the second one is applied research. In basic research, it aims to expand knowledge, and this involves examining relationships or outcomes or the drivers of certain kind of actions. Findings that normally signify how the result, a particular research outcome, yield certain kind of result. These are theoretical, but when we take a practical example of a basic research, let us identify a community living near to a forest area. So, tourism is normally promoted in wildlife research. Wildlife tourism is one of the prime attraction for visitors. So, a basic research is concerned how the community is benefited with the increased tourist flow to that site. Let us go with this assignment. So, the students studying at undergraduate level or postgraduate level can take small assignments like this, several areas that you can address upon. And the second part is applied research. This applied research is used mainly in organizations, destination management bodies or commercial organizations. It is specifically meant for identifying solution for a problem. Here the organizations face a couple of problems. You can say numerous problems organizations are facing. For example, when we see natural disasters are very common. How such crises are handled by destination management organizations or the administrators? Let us take the example of flood or intense rain, where landslides are very common. So, for a destination management organization is concerned, how to develop tourism in that region without affecting the environment. Many PhD researchers in India, they focus upon such kind of impact, social impact, economic impact or environmental impacts. So, these outcomes are highly useful for the bodies, administrators in various ways. So, in nutshell, we can say that this applied research offers solution to a pressing problem faced by a tourism organization. Here we will look upon how to generate research ideas. So, every student might be thinking what topic I should opt for my dissertation in undergraduation or post-graduation. When a student enters into PhD level, it is very trivial. Lot of cross questioning. Which topic I should go for? What would be the appropriate subject I should look into? So, in academia or society, what relevance these particular topics are having, or the outcome of these researches, will it be useful for government to design policies, or should I go with contemporary issues? You might be remembering that COVID-19 give lot of scope for researchers. 2020 to 2022, if you look into the research databases, thousands of research publications came up on different aspects, all addressing, or the basic question was the impact of COVID-19 on so and so topic, and how different organizations cope up with the workflow, or how the employees manage their life, stress, etc., etc. Then another question comes, rational thinking. Rational thinking involves Like you have to analyze a particular situation and you have to come out with certain solutions. Here also it involves critical thinking. The critical thinking aspect is questioning why, what or how certain issues are happening with the existing framework of studies. Then comes the ongoing debates or discussions in media. At times we find articles related to tourist protest at sites. A recent article which I read shows people living near beaches in Goa, they were suffering with noise issues. The DJ parties or midnight parties, they disturb the life of the natives, and there was no collective protest that we find in Western countries like in India. The ongoing debates or discussions in media can be also a source for generating research idea. So these few tips will help you to generate research ideas. One is discussion among the peer groups. You may have a number of friends, you may have mentors, you may be knowing different experts, academic or industry experts, you can discuss with them. Or search literature. Shodh Ganga is one of the good resource for every researcher. Or like Shodh Ganga, there are thesis depositories. You can do online search and understand what kind of researches are going on or which areas have already been studied. Then another area is called relevance trees, creating a diagram in which you can identify the core areas or allied areas. Then you can further figure out which area you can work on. Brainstorming is a common term that all of you are aware of. You may organize a group discussion and you identify the emerging themes out of the discussion and the key points you note down. A new idea which you find, which you feel suitable to you, can be taken up. Then another technique is called the Delphi technique. You may identify a list of people who find to be expert, who may have expertise in that area, and you can send them a small questionnaire, and according to their opinion you can modify the questionnaire or resend it, and finally you can come to a certain point. So Delphi technique is one of the area which you can generate research idea. And in this sequence we have last one is a preliminary study. You can spend some time to conduct a small study, and if the study brings result and your supervisor or the mentor is agreeing with the way you conducted the study and the outcomes, then you may go ahead with that. One of the major issues with every researcher or student opting dissertation is formulating research topic. In this diagram, you may find a number of sub areas which are connected with the tourism industry. So let us go by few points. Information communication technology, marketing, impacts, ethics, heritage, logistics. These are the segments which I have identified from the course syllabus, which is deeply connected with tourism and hospitality area. So when you decide a research topic, a number of factors that you have to look into. Which area you are interested in? Are you a person having good knowledge of ICT and you are aware of the uses outcomes of certain applications, and you can think of replicating the same in your subject. Or if you are interested in education, you want to be an educator too, you may opt an area aligning with tourism education. Availability of the data is the next part. When you conduct a research, you need a data. So where you collect this data? Are the respondents, they are available, or do you think that they respond to your questions? Futuristic. The study should be futuristic, because once you register for a PhD, it takes almost 4 years to 5 years to complete. So while you complete this research, that point of time the outcomes will be valid or acceptable. So for a student of UG or PG is concerned, the area which you work, will it benefit you in your coming years? I strongly advise you to opt for an interdisciplinary subject. You may be expert in your own area, but when you add or align a subject from a different discipline, you come to know about new things, or you can study new things. The second aspect here mentioned is interdisciplinary subject would be ideal in such cases. And the last point to note here is how it helps the society, the implications part. One of the very important point to mention here is the impact of a research is measured how the results are helpful to the society. So dear friends, let us review some points which you may find suitable to work in your dissertation or PhD topic. Let us study about motivation. Motivation to travel or motivation to experience tourism activities. You might have heard about push-pull factors. So in this period of time, whether that theory is really relevant, or can you come out with a new idea? So motivation is one of the area which you may think of. You may be remembering now Maslow's theory of needs or two-factor theory of motivation. So in the present context, millennials are concerned or Generation Z is concerned, how motivation works. Second is tourism life cycle theory. In this we have studied that the growth of a destination at different phases, from introduction to decline. And Richard Butler is one of the scientists, tourism scientists. He studied it very extensively. So the factors influencing the change of destination at different levels is need to be explored. Then tourist decision making process. So when we think about designing an itinerary and when we think about a trip, are we consistent with our tour programs? Like for example, if I take the example of a tour itinerary, let us take Golden Triangle, Delhi, Agra, Jaipur tour. So this particular itinerary is highly popular among the Western countries, tourists coming from Western countries. So what about Indian tourists? So Indian tourists would be preferring local sites, that sites may be near to their home, or a number of other factors may influence. Then tourist demand and supply factor. Supply and demand is again a very important part of tourism business. If there is high demand, that indicates that a destination is very popular. The supply factor decide the availability of service providers. The prices depends upon supply. So certain destinations are very expensive. Certain services you find very cheaper. So these things we have to understand. types of tourism and types of tourist destinations. So here we have seen, that according to Smith or Cohen, different types of tourists they have illustrated upon. You might be remembering mass tourism or offbeat tourist, these technical terms. So in this today's context, these are applicable or not, we can work into. The interdisciplinary nature of tourism is illustrated through a diagram. Here we can find new terms, that is like DEI, diversity, equity or equality or inclusivity. This is widely discussed these days. Or you can find medical issues. Tourists, once they go for a trip to certain destinations and after they return from that destination, in the long run what kind of diseases may develop. Dear learners, so now you must have got an idea about the interdisciplinary nature of tourism research, or you might be also thinking in the lines that which topic you should take in the future if you pursue a research. Now let us have the conclusion and wrap up what we have studied. When we do research scientifically, it becomes a very meticulous process, and all academic researchers, especially PhD level, should be scientific and systematic. And second point to note here is we should follow established benchmarks, frameworks, and a global outlook is very essential, because what is happening across the world and how your research outcomes are taken up after you complete this research, it has to be considered carefully. Good research helps you to grow in organizations, whether it is public or private, because the growth of business depends upon understanding the market, and you should understand the trends and changes of customers. Or doing research practically will help you to have a better outlook on the market structure or the market size. And for government is concerned, such results are highly valuable. Basic research expands the knowledge, whereas applied research improves our understanding of a particular area. To generate new research areas, I have described you a number of tips. You can use Delphi technique, or you can have brainstorm, you can discuss it with your mentors or known teachers who are experts in that area. I advise you all to choose your research topic carefully. It should have interdisciplinary approach, because it can add value to your work, and it should be futuristic. And one subject alone cannot grow. If you support other disciplines, or if you learn from other disciplines, it will expand the body of our knowledge, as well as it contributes to the society at a larger scale. With this, I thank all of you for your patient listening, and if you have any queries, please come back to us. I am there to help you out. Thank you.